What the fuck are you waiting on? We sleep 1/3 of our fucking lives. And we think we can take fucking days off. We think we have the right to sit back and give ourselves fucking options on which way we're gonna go in life. Am I gonna run today? Am I gonna work out today? Well, it's Christmas. It's New Year's. It's my birthday. You think time gives a fuck that it's Christmas, that it's New Year's, that it's your birthday? You give yourself too many fucking options. Let me tell you one thing. Time is running out.
When I first started working out, I had this lifting buddy who would go with me, and we would constantly be motivating each other to get after it and be our best each and every day. But sometimes, our schedules didn't always align, and so he wasn't able to make it into the gym, and then I wouldn't go just because he wasn't able to make it in. And so rather than continuously working towards my goals, sometimes I would take these long stretches and long breaks in between. And obviously in that time, I stopped making gains, and it just made it so much harder to stay consistent. It's not like I didn't want to be lean and muscular. What I really wanted was the confidence to just walk around with no shirt on while female mates spontaneously spawned around me in abundance. But it was just that when I had no one to hold me accountable to actually making it into the gym, it was just so hard to, get myself to get in there. So I tried just spamming my friend's phone with new messages to try and force his compliance, but of course he had other obligations, and it's not like he was about to call in sick just so he could get the workout in. But I guess just not everyone is as dedicated as me. At this point, I knew that I couldn't just continue basing my attendance off of someone else, but I wasn't really sure where I should go next, and that's when I started talking to Goggins. Since the day Goggins was born, he was revered as the hero and was constantly being looked up to. But he found that he hated how long it took to level up by fighting the smaller monsters, so he constantly gave up. Until one day he heard of a great dragon nestling in the mountain above his village. He arrogantly proclaimed that he would kill it so that the townsfolk could rest easy at night, but in reality he just wanted to fulfill his destiny now without having to go through all the hardship it would normally require to reach the end. But he quickly realized his mistake when coming face to face with the cold piercing eyes of the formidable beast. He was met with a sinister grumbling voice that said, "Who dares disturb my slumber?" Looking into the cold piercing eyes of the beast, Goggins instantly froze, petrified in fear. But the fiery breath of the dragon, which singed off his hair, leaving him bald even to this day, jolted him back into reality as he narrowly escaped with his life. He had bit off more than he could chew, and it took him an entire month to recover from his injuries. But once fully healed, Goggins went on an absolute rampage, systematically decimating the monster races until he was nearly unstoppable. With each kill, he grew in strength, experience, and wisdom until not even the great Dragon King could stand before him and stop the trajectory of his conquest. So this got me thinking, what if it was so difficult to stay consistent with working out? Because I kept starting from scratch and looking for a reason not to go rather than the opposite. When I had been so much further along if I just accepted the reality of the situation and instead of hoping for things to magically change and our schedules to perfectly align. And how is it that I can start focusing on reasons why I should be going rather than focusing on why I supposedly can't? Well, as the homie Isaac Newton once said, an object in motion stays in motion, and an object at rest stays at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. So therefore, if I really wanted to maximize my consistency and results in the gym, then I just needed to make the process of working out so habitual that I didn't even think twice about it when it was time to get that workout in. So this was when I started utilizing the principle of momentum. You see, a rocket burns approximately 11,000 pounds of fuel, or in other words, 2 million times the rate of fuel burned by the average family car per second just to get into orbit. But once that rocket is actually in orbit, it can coast on next to nothing. And so this tremendous pull of gravity that keeps the rocket grounded is simply the negative momentum or rut that stops people from, establishing new healthy habits. But what if you could overcome this rut? Wouldn't the sky be the limit? So once I began doubling down on my workout regimen, especially going when I didn't want to go, I eventually reached the point where I would just wake up and go to the gym regardless of how I was feeling. I literally conditioned my nervous system into going regardless of how I was feeling. And so as a result of that tremendous effort that I put forth initially, that's what enabled me to literally change my DNA from being a little bitch to being someone who just gets up and goes to the gym without even thinking twice about it. But looking past the physical changes, what I'm most proud of is the discipline that I built over the years, which has allowed me to be tenacious enough to, build my online fitness business. As they say, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so when you develop that muscle of discipline, that bleeds into all other areas of your life. Alright guys, so I hope you liked that video, and drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to jumpstart your own health and wellness journey, feel free to check out my fasting sage cookbook, which has like 10 plus recipes, or also have a whole bunch of other guides. The links are going to be down in the description. So yeah, that's going to be it for today. Keep dreaming while you're awake, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.
You ever wonder what it feels like when dreams bleed into real life? Seen scenes from TV get realized. Palm trees, a soft breeze, and chilled ice till tides wash away our problems in the spilled wine.